Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Nazi's Reality World channel. We are going to talk about how to assess sadness and differentiate sadness from depression. Topics we are going to touch today are as follows. 1. Definition of sadness and depression. 2. Understanding sadness and depression. 3. Knowing the difference between sadness and depression. 4. Reflecting on your emotions. 5. Managing your sadness and depression. Before we continue, if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so anytime I will upload a new video, you will get notified. If you are an existing subscriber, thank you for always being here for me. So let's get into it, guys. Number 1, definition of sadness and depression. Sadness is an emotional pain associated with or characterized by feelings of disadvantage, loss, despair, grief, helplessness, disappointment, and sorrow. Sadness is also one of the 6 basic emotions alongside with happiness, anger, surprise, fear, and disgust. While in other words, depression is a persistent sadness and a lack of interest or pleasure in previously rewarding or enjoyable activities. Emotional stress can play a role in causing depression or be a symptom of it. 2. Understanding sadness and depression. Sadness is a part of a larger experience of grief. It is a painful emotion that is usually temporary and generally stems from external factors such as breakup, fight, or disagreements with a close friend, moving away from family, or loss of loved ones. Sadness is a normal emotion that most people feel at various points in their lives. The sadness stemming from a grief reaction can affect your concentration, appetite, and sleep. While depression is a mood of disorder that occurs when unable to control sadness and or accepting disappointment. 3. Knowing the difference between sadness and depression. It is important to know how sadness differs from depression because the treatment for each other are themselves different. Unlike sadness, depression does not usually have an identifying external cause. It is just something people feel out of uncontrollable sadness. In comparison to sadness, depression is a more serious problem that causes low mood, too little or too much sleep, weight loss or gain, increased or decreased appetite, low energy, disinterest in the world around you, avoidance of social situations, poor concentration, and feeling of worthlessness. One of the key differences between depression and sadness is the ability to experience pleasure, love, and hope. When people are sad, they can usually still experience moments of happiness or pleasure. However, in cases of depression, many sufferers feel themselves unable to experience pleasure, hope, or anything at all and become emotionally flat. Moreover, for depressed people, their sadness is like a cloud hanging over from which there is no escape. They have a tendency to ruminate, dwell, and feel unable to simply get happy. Depression is also long-lasting and can be something that an individual struggles with for months, years, or their entire life, whereas sadness is usually transient and temporary. If you find yourself unable to cope effectively with your sadness such that your daily functions is negatively impacted and suspect that you may in fact be suffering from depression, you should consult a mental health professional. Treatment for depression can involve psychotherapy and medication, so it's important that you assess whether what you are feeling is more chronic than occasional sadness in order to receive the proper treatment. 4. Reflecting on your emotions. Has something happened recently in your life that helps explain what you have been feeling? For example, did you just experience a breakup or a loss of your job? Identifying the cause of your sadness will better help you understand and move past it. Reflecting on the external factors will also confirm that you are experiencing a normal reaction of sadness to something that's happened and not chronic depression. In addition, knowing what is making you sad will help you determine the appropriate methods to alleviate your sadness. For instance, the sadness you feel after you have broken up with your boyfriend of 3 months will be quite different than the sadness you feel if your husband of 10 years has recently passed away. If you have suffered a major loss of trauma, it may be useful to consult a mental health professional who can work with you to develop coping strategy for your sadness and grief. The most stressful events that affect individual mental and physical well-being include the death of a spouse, divorce, marital separation, and death of a close family member. In such cases where sadness is likely to be more extreme, the techniques described below may be useful in conjunction with therapy. 5. Managing and dealing with sadness and depression. There are a range of ways to deal with depression and sadness, and often they are best used in conjunction with each other. The primary strategies to cope with sadness and depression are as follows. 1. Set goals for daily activities. Plan full days of usual activities by making a list of the activities you are going to engage in at different times during the days. Try to stick to this plan as closely as possible. 2. Always do the activities you enjoy the most. Find out the activities you enjoy the most and try to increase the amount of time you spend on these enjoyable activities. 3. Don't compare yourself to others. Avoid comparing yourself to others. It makes you feel less opportune or less privileged to be lucky, and definitely don't compare yourself the way you are behaving or feeling now while you are depressed with the way you used to behave or feel before becoming depressed. 4. Reward yourself for your efforts. Always reward yourself even when no one rewards you. You can always ask people around you to encourage and praise you for each small step you take. Recovering from depression is a bit like learning to walk again after breaking your leg. 5. Don't engage yourself in big tasks. If a task seems too difficult, do not despair. Break the task down into even easier steps and start again more slowly. 6. Rest a lot. Take a good rest and have enough sleep. Always remember to tell yourself that you are special, you are unique, and you are worthy. And this is the session I have for you guys. Thank you all for coming back to always check up on me. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell.